Welcome back to O-Level Oasis, your reliable partner for CAIE exam preparation. We've completed Chapter 10, and now we're ready to tackle its past paper questions. You can find the question paper link in the description and the comment section below. Let's begin. So here we will begin with Paper 1 question. The question asks, which balanced chemical equation shows aerobic respiration? The options given include equations for photosynthesis, anaerobic respiration, and one for aerobic respiration. To solve this, we first recall what aerobic respiration actually is. It is the process in which glucose reacts with oxygen to release energy, producing carbon dioxide and water as waste products. So we simply look for the equation that has glucose and oxygen on the left side, and carbon dioxide and water on the right side. When we compare the options, we see that option A represents photosynthesis, option B is not a standard respiration equation, and option C describes fermentation in yeast. Only option D matches the correct equation of aerobic respiration. Therefore, the correct answer is D, so this is the correct option. Next, the question asks, what is a feature of anaerobic respiration in humans? To solve this, we think about what happens when the muscles work very hard and there is not enough oxygen available. Under these conditions, the body switches to anaerobic respiration, which means respiration without oxygen. In humans, this process does not produce carbon dioxide like it does in yeast. Instead, it produces lactic acid, which causes muscle fatigue. So we check the options. Option A is incorrect because anaerobic respiration does not require oxygen. Option B is incorrect because carbon dioxide is not produced in humans during anaerobic respiration. Option D is incorrect because anaerobic respiration releases less energy, not more. Option C correctly states that lactic acid is produced. Therefore, the correct answer is C. Next we have this theory-based question from Paper 2. The first part asks us to name the process which produces carbon dioxide in living organisms and state how carbon dioxide is excreted by humans. So in this part, the answer goes like this. Carbon dioxide is produced during respiration. In humans, it is carried to the lungs and excreted by being breathed out through the alveoli. Then the question continues, and in the next part it says, the volume of carbon dioxide excreted varies over a 24-hour period and the factors that affect this are different for animals and plants. Suggest and explain why the volume of carbon dioxide excreted varies for both animals and plants. For animals, the answer is, animals excrete different amounts of carbon dioxide because their activity levels change. More activity increases respiration, which in turn produces and releases more carbon dioxide. And for plants, the narration continues with, plants respire all the time, but during daylight photosynthesis uses up some of the carbon dioxide. Therefore, they release less during the day and more at night when photosynthesis stops. Again we are back to the MCQs part. Now, the question asks, what causes the movement of the colored oil drop? And the diagram shows an apparatus used to investigate respiration in germinating seeds. Inside the test tube, the seeds are respiring, and sodium hydroxide is present to absorb carbon dioxide. The capillary tube contains a colored oil drop that moves as the gas volume inside the system changes. To solve this, we need to think about what happens during respiration and what the apparatus is designed to measure. Germinating seeds take in oxygen for aerobic respiration and release carbon dioxide. However, because sodium hydroxide absorbs all the carbon dioxide produced, the only real effect inside the tube is that oxygen is continually being used up. As oxygen is used, the total volume of gas decreases, causing a pressure difference. This pressure difference pulls the colored oil drop along the capillary tube. The other options do not match the mechanism. Carbon dioxide released cannot cause movement because it is absorbed, heat released does not directly push the oil drop, and water used is not relevant here. Therefore, the correct answer is C, oxygen used, so this is the correct option. Again, we have an MCQ. The question asks, which equation represents anaerobic respiration in humans? To answer this, we begin by recalling what happens when human muscles respire without oxygen. During anaerobic respiration in humans, glucose is not fully broken down. Instead, it is converted only into lactic acid, and importantly, there is no carbon dioxide produced in this process. With this understanding, we evaluate each option. Option A is incorrect because it shows carbon dioxide being formed, which does not occur in humans under anaerobic conditions. Option B describes fermentation in yeast, not in humans. Option D also mentions carbon dioxide as a product, which again is wrong for human anaerobic respiration. Only option C correctly shows that glucose is converted into lactic acid alone. Therefore, the correct answer is C, so this is the correct option. Then, the next question asks, what is produced during anaerobic respiration in muscles? To solve this, we think about what muscle cells produce when they run short of oxygen. In such situations, they switch from aerobic to anaerobic respiration, and the only product formed in human muscles is lactic acid. No alcohol is formed, no carbon dioxide is released, and no water is produced either. This makes it easy to eliminate the other options. Option A mentions alcohol and carbon dioxide, which apply to yeast, not humans. Option B includes carbon dioxide, which humans do not release during anaerobic respiration. Option C lists carbon dioxide only, which is again incorrect. The only option that fits human muscle anaerobic respiration is option D, which states lactic acid only. Therefore, the correct answer is D, so this is the correct option. Next we have another theory-based question. It says, a root hair cell in a plant is respiring aerobically. Name the structures within the cell that carry out aerobic respiration, so we will simply write mitochondria. Next part says, write the balanced symbol equation for the aerobic respiration of glucose, C6H12O6. So we will write, 1 glucose plus 6 oxygen produces 6 carbon dioxide and 6 water. Next, it asks, the plant experiences changing weather conditions including high temperature, heavy rain, high winds and low humidity, and out of all these conditions, state the weather condition that may lead to a root hair cell respiring anaerobically and explain your answer. And the answer for this part is, the weather condition is heavy rain. And the explanation is, heavy rain can cause aerobic respiration because it waterlogs the soil, removing air spaces and reducing oxygen availability to the root hair cell. Again, we have an MCQ. The question asks, what are the products of anaerobic respiration in muscle? To answer this, we begin by recalling what happens inside human muscles when there is not enough oxygen available for aerobic respiration. Under these oxygen-limited conditions, the muscles switch to anaerobic respiration. In humans, this process has one clear product, lactic acid. No alcohol is produced, no carbon dioxide is released, water is not formed, and glucose is the substance being broken down, not the substance being made. With this information, we look across the table of options to find the row that correctly reflects the true products. Options A, B, and C each show extra substances being produced, such as carbon dioxide, alcohol, or water, all of which are incorrect for human muscle anaerobic respiration. Only option D lists lactic acid as the sole product, exactly matching what happens in the body. Therefore, the correct answer is D. Next, the next question asks, which apparatus can be used to investigate the production of carbon dioxide by anaerobic respiration of yeast? To solve this, we consider two important requirements. First, anaerobic respiration requires the absence of oxygen, and second, yeast enzymes work best at about 40 degrees Celsius. Looking at the options, the correct setup must include an oil layer on top to block oxygen and must maintain a temperature suitable for yeast activity. Option A contains oil to prevent oxygen from entering, and it uses 40 degrees Celsius, which is ideal for enzyme function. Option B also contains oil but is heated to 100 degrees Celsius, which would kill the yeast. Options C and D have no oil, meaning oxygen is present, so anaerobic respiration cannot occur. Therefore, only option A meets both conditions. Therefore, the correct answer is A. Next, this question asks, which words correctly complete gaps 1 to 4 in the aerobic respiration equation? To solve this, we recall the word equation for aerobic respiration. Glucose plus oxygen makes carbon dioxide and water. Once we know this, we simply match each part of the equation to the 4 blanks. The first blank must be glucose, the second, oxygen, the third, carbon dioxide, and the fourth, water. When we compare these with the table of options, option C lists the sequence in the correct order. None of the other options follow the proper arrangement of reactants and products. Therefore, the correct answer is C, so this is the correct option.